I started selling digital products around a year ago now, and it has turned into one of the best decisions I have ever made for my business. Since then, I've managed to get 4,561 sales total and generate over $223,929.93 in income for my business from digital product sales alone in the last 12 months. But before I could get to those numbers, I had to get my first few sales in the door, which wasn't easy. Think about selling digital products like the first time you went for a run. Those first few runs were horrible. You probably didn't make it very far. It was likely more of a run walk than an actual run, and you couldn't walk for days afterwards. But over time, as you get fitter and fitter, you're able to get further and further with less effort, and suddenly you find yourself running 10, 15, 20 kilometers easily. It's the same for business. Over time, the effort required to achieve bigger and bigger results will get smaller and smaller, but in the beginning, it's going to require all of your effort to get even a few sales in the door. So in today's video, I'm going to share everything that I know now to help you get your first 100 sales and beyond. Your first product is not going to be a winner, and that's okay. My first digital product that I released in July last year to this day has made a whopping $2,155.45 total. That's just $165 a month in the entire time it's been released. Not exactly a giant success, but it was necessary to get me to the point where I'm now able to achieve far more than that. The beginning is always going to be the most challenging part, so removing as much of the friction and as many of the obstacles as possible between you and releasing something for people to buy is critically important. You're just not going to make your first 100 sales if you're not selling anything. And I know, Captain Obvious, right? But this is the part that stumps so many people. They think about starting, they plan to start, and they never actually do it. It's only once you actually do it that you'll start the feedback loop necessary to teach you the skills that will eventually lead to your success. So remove all your expectations, forget all the advice you've ever received and all the knowledge you think you need to know, and start with your minimum viable product. Your minimum viable product is just a fancy schmancy way of saying what's something you could prepare today and sell tomorrow. If you want to create a course eventually, instead, could you create a 45-minute workshop teaching those same skills, create the event on Loomer and sell it for 25 bucks a pop on Gumroad? Of course you could. You could probably do that this afternoon. So start with the lowest possible effort in the best possible product in the cheapest possible price and get it out the door, like right now. This will help you start getting sales to the door, gather feedback, and begin to learn all the skills necessary to eventually sell your products for more money. But none of those skills matter in the beginning. All you need to worry about is getting one person to send money from their bank account to your bank account in exchange for a product. And you're gonna do that with a minimum viable product. And whilst we're at it, because I know you're probably wondering this, where should you sell your product? Sell it on Gumroad. I'm not telling you that because it's the best. I don't use Gumroad anymore, but it is the easiest when you're first starting out, and I'm making that decision for you to save you the countless hours you would have spent researching the pros and cons of the dozens of different platforms after finishing this video. Just sell your stuff on Gumroad. Forget about the rest. Who gives a fuck? So to recap, create your MVP and sell it on Gumroad right now. Tip number 2, promote your products a lot. It always shocks me how many creators are happy to bend over backwards for a sponsor for a few $100, but then those same creators promote their own products once on their story, link it in their bio, and then think that that's enough to make sales. I can't believe I have to say this, but you're not gonna sell anything if no one knows you sell anything. Now I know in the beginning selling can be uncomfortable, but if you believe in your products, wouldn't you want more people to get their hands on it? Because the more people who have it, the better it's gonna do, because all those people will be telling all their friends about how good it is, right? Now, if the answer to that was no, then you've got bigger issues on your hands, and you should probably worry more about why you're selling shit you don't believe in. But if your answer was yes, and I hope it was, then sell your products a lot. It's better for you because it's actually your product that you can fully control and give your customers a great experience with. It's better for your audience because they want the money they spend to go to you, not 90% to a business and then 10% to you in the form of a commission. And it's better for your bank account because if it's your product, guess what? You keep all the revenue. So sell your products a lot. Tip number 3. Gather proof. Proof is just a fancy way of saying testimonials and student success stories. Basically, we want to gather evidence that your products aren't shit. Because it's one thing for you to say that your products aren't shit, but it's another thing entirely for your customers to say it. So you want to gather as many of these as you possibly can. Your goal with your marketing is to decrease the perceived likelihood that your customers won't achieve the desired outcome by purchasing your product. And the best way to do this is by sharing a shitload of testimonials and student success stories. This just shows your potential customers that your products don't just work for you, but work for for a bunch of other people too. And people want to buy from people. So the more evidence that you can gather that proves that your stuff works, the less objections you're going to have. Because your customers are going to relate to each other much more than they'll relate to you. Because one of your customers seeing someone else who's gone through a success from your product can relate to where that person was before they bought your product much easier than they can relate to your story that you tell about your product, because they were already detached from your story when you were starting out. Whereas a customer was right in the trenches where they are when they bought your product. And if you can show that, then people are going to trust your products more. So gather and share those stories as much as possible. An easy way to do this is to use a platform like Senya.io. You can just send your customers a link, they can fill out the testimonial, and then you can embed that straight from Senya onto your website or landing page or whatever you want to do. A good rule of thumb to remember with testimonials is that you don't get what you don't ask for. Sure, you might get some organic testimonials in your DMs, and those are great, but if you want to dramatically increase the amount of testimonials and student success stories that you receive for your products, ask for them and make it really easy for your customers to give them. And part 4, always look to improve your products. Your entire business lives and dies by the experience that your customers have. And this is entirely dependent on how good your product actually is. Not how good you think it is, but how good your customers think it is, which is the only thing that's important. The product that you're selling is literally more important than anything else I've said in this video. So once you've got your MVP and you've got a few sales trickling in, take the feedback from those customers and improve your product. If your product is good and your customers have a good experience, all those people are going to be sharing your product to all of their friends and everyone in their network, and it'll start to sell itself. But if your product is shit, it only takes one person asking one of your customers what they honestly thought of your product, and for them to turn around and go, Tom's product was kind of shit, to be honest. And suddenly you've lost the sale of not just that person, but every single person in that person's network forever, even on future products that are completely unrelated, because business is a trust building exercise. And once trust is broken, it is extremely difficult to get that back. An easy rule of thumb that I try to stick to is, do I use it? If I already use the product that I'm selling, there's probably a good reason behind that, and it's usually a winner. But if the answer is no, there's probably a good reason why I'm not using it, and I shouldn't be selling it in the first place. All the creative assets that I sell, I use myself. My Notion dashboard is literally my Notion dashboard that I use to plan and run my entire business. The LUTs that I sell are the LUTs that I use to color grade this exact video right now. So try to really assess, is the product you're selling something you would use? And then take on board the feedback that you get from customers. Do people like certain things? Do they dislike certain things? Is there something you can add? Is there something you can remove? What can you do to constantly be improving your products? Also try to pay attention to other people's products within your niche. Can you improve on their products? Can you improve on their price? Can you improve on the experience that they're giving their customers? Or is there anything else that you can take from them and improve in your own processes? If you can do this and you can adopt the mindset of a relentless iterator, you will win. I hope this video has been valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.